Okay, so a little while ago on GameRant threads, we posed the question, can visuals save an otherwise bad game? And the person who asked that question, Eric, made reference to Hyper Light Breaker, which at the time was in early access, and talked about how the gameplay mechanics kind of need a little bit of tweaking, but that synthwave inspired aesthetic that it was going for was something that was really drawing them in. I make reference to this because the first comment I want to look at directly responds to this. So the first one I want to look at is what Caster had to say, or Caster, apologies if I got that incorrect. Totally agree. Good visuals can definitely keep you coming back for more, even if the game isn't perfect. Like with Hyper Light Breaker, the vibrant synthwave look is super eye-catching, and it makes me want to check it out again, even if it needs some work. But at the end of the day, if the gameplay doesn't get better, I can't keep playing just for the pretty graphics. It's got to be balanced, right? I find that when it comes to graphics and visuals, it's definitely going to be something that will bring your attention in. But if the gameplay is rubbish, you're not going to stick around, because at the end of the day, visuals and all those pretty aesthetics, they're going to be impressive for a very finite amount of time. But gameplay and any grievances you have about gameplay, anything that annoys you about gameplay, that's going to stick around far longer. Eventually, the magic of those visuals is going to wear off. Oh, I like what Vlad had to say here. So Vlad, no, I don't believe it can. There were plenty of times in past years where I found myself bored while playing a really stunning game, including Horizon Forbidden West, which didn't grab me like the original did, Star Wars Outlaws, Dead Island 2, or something like, well, Godfall. Almost every game is good looking now, so that's not enough to keep me playing anymore. The last thing you said there is a particularly good point, in that the resources at developers' disposal in this day and age are second to none. Like, we can continue to joke about how back in the PS1 and PS2 age, we thought that the graphics could never get better than PS1 Hagrid, but they did. And now we're getting to a stage now where it's almost difficult to discern what is real from what has been created by a game developer or by AI. Games need to have something more than impressive visuals, because it's becoming the norm now, unless you're going for a particular art style that isn't trying to be super realistic, but it can still be impressive nonetheless. Okay, I'm gonna grab one more. Matthew. In a word, no. I can overlook graphical choices I find ugly if the story and or gameplay are top notch. Given some examples there with Baroque Decay's Yuppie Psycho and the Count Lucanor. Sorry if I got that wrong. But the reverse is never true. Lipstick on a pig and whatnot. Perfectly valid. I mean, it's easy to overlook any issues or maybe minor grievances you have with graphics if the gameplay or the narrative or the game mechanics are super interesting and keeping your attention. Because at the end of the day, those are the things that keep your attention. So if you have issues with graphics, you're eventually going to forget about it if you're so heavily immersed in the story or so heavily immersed in the gameplay. But the same cannot be said the other way around. Gameplay is so important. If you get that wrong, you're going to lose customers and you're going to lose your player base. So yeah, very good point. You can overlook the graphic stuff, but yes, lipstick on a pig. Okay, I'm going to channel my inner split fiction and co-op this with Maxwell, who says order of importance, story, gameplay, and then graphics. I would say it's probably arguable that gameplay and story could probably be swapped. It depends on who you ask. That is also a very valid ranking, but I don't think many people would put graphics at the very top. And I think if you look at some of the most popular games, even to this day, things like Stardew Valley, I wouldn't go into Stardew Valley for its graphics. I mean, it has a particular art style, don't get me wrong, and they do that quite well, but you compare it to something like Ghost of Tsushima, two very different games, but I don't stick around with Stardew Valley for the graphics. I stick around for the gameplay and the story. And the same could be said, games like GTA Vice City, still a very popular game, doesn't quite have the player base that it used to, but I still go back and play Vice City because I loved Vice City, and it wasn't because of the graphics. That's why we're seeing things like Oblivion got shadow dropped and it's had an improvement in graphics, but people were still playing that game before the remaster because it wasn't about the graphics. It was about how incredible exploring the world was, how great the narrative was, and the gameplay. And it's why you're also seeing, if you're talking about Elder Scrolls, you're also seeing people are still playing Skyrim a lot of hours, and that's why they keep re-releasing it. I mean, if you ask me, graphics is what brings you in a lot of the time, especially if you haven't really seen anything to do with the story or the mechanics and stuff. But the first thing you'll notice in a gameplay trailer or a reveal trailer are the graphics. So that'll immediately turn people off or it'll immediately draw people in. So graphics is what's going to get you there, but you need something more than just graphics to keep you there. So yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same boat here. Graphics are great, but if the rest of it isn't good, we're probably not going to stick around. Speaking of sticking around, if you stuck around this long, thanks for following along. I'd like to actually hear your opinion a little more too, so it doesn't necessarily have to be about this topic, but if you have any thoughts and feelings about your favorite games, anime, movies, I don't know, collectibles, do you collect Funkos? Tell me about it. You can submit a thread to us. Submit any hot takes you've got, opinions, questions, whatever it may be, so that I can publish it and then we can all talk about it. We'll circle back here, right here, and I'll talk about it in a Gamer's Head coming up in the future. In the meantime, enjoy whatever games you may be playing. Maybe Oblivion, maybe Claire Obscure, I don't know, maybe Days Gone, whatever it may be. I hope you enjoy it. Happy gaming, and we'll see you around again on GamerInt.com.